These are all transformations from women who have struggled with finding the level of confidence and support they needed to be able to get themselves to a place where they're feeling comfortable in their skin again, comfortable with the clothes that they're wearing, comfortable in their photos and the mirror, and just with their day to day life. Many of these women struggled with putting that plan into place, and it's for a few reasons. Really comes down to understanding how the body operates as well as making sure they have the right plan in place to help them succeed with their goals. And so here's a few of my testimonials you'll see here, and I wanted to share because all of these women that I've worked with my program have been in the same spot. And what has allowed them to succeed with their goals are a few things. And we're going to talk about those things today. And really, when we talk about this, I want to make sure that number one, you're taking notes, but number two, being mindful of why you're struggling and what it is you need in order for you to overcome your goals. And so I'm going to talk about five main things that you need to focus on to make sure that you are effectively building muscle, you're leaning out, you're toning up effectively with your routine. So this is what these women have been able to accomplish during our time together. Some of them are still working with me, but I wanted to give you some insight that when it comes to these particular goals that you're aiming for, you're not alone. So, why are you not losing fat and building muscle tone? You got to make sure that we're fixing these five things. And so, the truth about lasting results, it really comes down to making sure that it's not about the quick fixes, it's not about trendy hacks we're doing, but to actually have good, solid, fundamental shifts that create results that last. And perhaps you might be asking yourself, well, I've jumped into programs before. I've tried keto, I've tried intermittent fasting. I've tried apps like Ladder, Noom, and things like Optavia or even GLP-1. And if you felt stuck like that, just understand that you're not alone. It's hard to get to a point where you are eating clean, training effectively, and still not seeing the body that you want. But the good news is you're committed, you're disciplined, you're wanting to be able to effectively put a plan in place to help you reach that goal. So again, the answer isn't about more restriction. It's not about harder workouts. It's not about doing 60 minutes of HIIT or spending hours in the kitchen. It's about having better systems that work smarter, they're longer lasting, they fuel you better, and then ultimately allow you to be able to see the results that you want. And so when it comes to this, the first important thing we'll jump into is nutrition. And you might be asking yourself, well, I do eat all the right foods, but what I see from many women, especially those over the age of 40, is that they are just not eating enough, whether that is with their overall calories, but most importantly, with their macros. Proteins, carbs, and fats. So the big mistake is that less food does not equal more results, especially in the form of reducing carbs, especially in the form of reducing protein. We are taught that we should be fearing these items to be able to see results. And this makes us think that we need to be able to do that. And while that may work for some time, maybe some of you have reached a plateau, you've hit that wall. You can't push past that certain point. It really comes down to the amount of food that you're consuming. You need to fuel your body properly. So the truth is that whenever you're consuming the appropriate amount of foods, we are actually providing our body with the proper energy source to see results. So without adequate carbs, workouts suffer, our recovery slows down, your metabolism adapts, and you're not able to push yourself past that wall because you're consuming too little. So what we need to start shifting our mindset into is not from eating less, but to fueling our bodies appropriately. So many of the women that I work with currently are eating, when they start off, at least 1,000 to 1,200 calories, maybe even 1,400 calories. But when we start shifting that to 1,600, 1,800 calories, while that might seem like a lot, it could really start to amplify the effects of nutrition on your body to see results. And this allows you to effectively burn stubborn belly fat, lean up, tone out, and be able to see results. So that's the big shift we want to start focusing on first. The second, and I'll move my face out of here, is making sure that whenever you are doing this, you're starting slow. You want to make sure that you are starting at a point where you're not completely blowing calories out of the water, but you're starting with small baby steps, small substitutions, small alternatives, whether that's with your meals, your snacks, the drinks that you're consuming. You want to make sure that you want to meet your metabolism where it's at and slowly start increasing the amount that you're consuming. So you want to make sure you're monitoring this. So this is where I get really clear in some of my other videos that tracking your data becomes important. Yes, let's get clear on how much you're consuming based off of how much you're effectively tracking within your food journal. Let's get clear on how much you're weighing, your measurements, your progress photos. That way you're able to understand how your body's responding on a week to week basis. The third thing is your body's going to respond a lot better with more food. You're building muscle, you're burning fat. This is exactly what we want. And so we want to, again, be mindful of how we can start putting ourselves in a position where we're not restricting, but we're practicing some restraint. So, gradually increasing calories, specifically nutrient dense carbs, nutrient dense proteins. This can help us put ourselves in a position where we're not just seeing results, but we are actually getting the needle to move and building some solid momentum. And so this really works because you're giving your body the resources it needs to be able to function optimally. The next thing we want to focus on is our exercise. We want to train hard. This is important, but we want to make sure that we're not just stimulating, or I'm sorry, we're not just obliterating, but we're stimulating. So this is a phrase I like to use often, and the difference between that really matters. And you might be someone that has jumped into classes, group classes, HIIT classes, perhaps Pilates, Functional 45, Orange Theory. These may have been things that you're currently even doing now. And what you'll notice is not only yourself, but those in the room around you. You're not changing much. You're the exact same body size, or maybe you're losing body fat, or I'm sorry, losing weight, but you're not losing body fat. And so this becomes an important factor, especially whenever nutrition isn't on point, that the exercise plays a big part into this as well. And there's a very big difference between just moving your body and actually pushing your body to a certain limit. So you might be going through those motions, following those classes, but you're overstimulating. You need to provide a small stimulus. And this happens in the form of progressive overload. So this means that you're consistently challenging your muscles with the same exercises in the gym while also performing low intensity steady state cardio for about 15 to 20 minutes today, or getting a good amount of steps in, approximately 7 to 10,000 steps per day. This can allow you to break a little bit outside of your comfort zone and be able to stimulate your body and, of course, recover it with the proper foods that you're eating. That way you can build a lean tone physique with purpose, right? You don't want to be able to point where you're completely obliterating your body, you're not able to recover, and then top that off with very minimal calorie consumption. Of course, you're going to have a hard time losing body fat and building muscle. You're not going to look like someone who works out. And I know that's something that a lot of you women struggle with. The next thing we want to jump into is making sure that we are not spending so much time in a state of dieting. Always cutting calories, always trying to lose more weight, never actually building the foundation that creates the body type that we want. And so for most women, they think that they need to be able to essentially follow this very strict cutting regimen that doesn't allow you to be able to provide your body with the nutrients it needs to build that muscle. And so you can't chisel what you haven't built first. You need muscle mass. You need a lean tone physique. And no, you're not going to get bulky. Trust me, I've been trying to get bulky my entire life and I'm not there yet. So a lot of this is going to be important to take into consideration that that's not going to happen. Third thing is the building phase. You need dedicated periods of time where you do consume more food. You are lifting good heavy weight and you're giving that yourself that ability to build muscle, give yourself shape, give yourself curves and the definition, and then be able to point to a strategic cutting plan where once you've built that foundation, you're able to reveal the fat loss that you've been able to effectively acquire, be able to see the work that you created. And so again, this really comes down to making sure that you're following a good, consistent, sustainable weightlifting routine in tandem with your nutrition. The other thing that comes into play here is many of us tend to overlook our gut health. Number one, hydration is important. A big factor I like to take into consideration is making sure that everything is moving properly, especially when it comes to digestion. You're having good nutrient absorption, waste elimination. So just make sure that you're drinking water when you're thirsty. You're not overdoing it, approximately 2 to 3 liters of water a day. The second thing is fiber intake, making sure you're eating plenty of vegetables, fruits. Don't think that it's going to make you gain a whole bunch of weight. As long as you're, again, tracking your calories and eating within a good deficit, you're going to be able to see results. So plenty of vegetables, fruits, and whole grains. This can just allow things to just move a lot better for you. So make sure you're prioritizing rich, fibrous foods. Now, After all of that is taken into consideration, we also need to be mindful of our recovery. We need to make sure that our body is absorbing not only the nutrients, but also making sure you're recovering properly based off of the workouts we've done. So you can't outtrain poor recovery. You can't outtrain a bad diet. So this grind mentality that maybe you're in the gym 6 to 7 times per week for some of you, this is something that you need to take into consideration. You don't want to push past that level of exhaustion. Get good sleep at night, daily sun exposure. Make sure you have a good bedtime routine. You've got a cold room. The blinds are shut. You're wearing blue light blocker sunglasses when you're on your phone. Eliminate the phone an hour or two before bed. And then another one I really like is trying to limit the eating a couple of hours before bed too. So after you have dinner, brush your teeth, floss, you're not inclined to eat anything after that. This can help you have much more quality sleep, and you can stay asleep for 7 to 9 hours. Now, for those that have kids or perhaps grandkids over, you're taking care of them. Obviously, this is a little bit of a different approach. You want to be able to create that schedule as much as possible. I know sometimes that's not always possible. We want to try our best here. The next step to this is having a much more smarter approach to your body transformation. So, what does this mean? You need to fuel your body properly. Food is fuel, it's not the enemy. Number two, training with purpose. Every workout should have good intention behind it, good structure. You're not changing it every single day. You're not going completely overstimulating your body and putting too much stress on it. You need good stimulus. And then, of course, having patience and respect for the process. It takes time. This is a journey. It's not a 12-week challenge. It's not a 75-day hard challenge. It's not a 90-day challenge. It's a lifelong approach. So making sure that you're giving yourself some good patience with this is going to be really important as well. This is something that will compound over months and even years. So be patient throughout this process, because look, here's the example of many of the women, again, that I've worked with. It's taken them some time, February to August, March to September, 20 pounds down nearly. This is the exact approach that we follow when it comes to working with my clients. And something that, again, taking into consideration, if you're someone who's stuck in a similar spot and you're not sure how to create that structure for yourself, this is exactly what we help women do. And specifically women over the age of 40 years old who have perhaps found themselves stuck. They are working 5 times a week. They want to feel that sense of confidence again and boost their self-esteem, feel comfortable in their clothes, comfortable in their skin, energetic, just be in a place where they're just comfortable again, especially with summer right around the corner. At the timing of this video being filmed, January the 26th, you've got the time. You've got 5 or 6 months to be able to jump into something. And my goal for you is be able to implement something that allows you to see results starting from day one, week one. You got an effective approach. And so this is exactly what we help our women focus on doing. So if you're interested in getting help from this, I want to make sure that you have the tools required to do that. So if you're interested in booking a call with me, simply apply down below. There's a link to my Instagram page. There's a link to an application, and of course, a link to get in contact with me. So last but not least, stop trying to rush this. Trust that you're following a good process, especially if you do have good structure, you have the accountability needed, you got good timer on this, and just most importantly, enjoy this journey. This is something that we think we obviously want to be able to achieve. We're creatures of that instant gratification, and that's not always possible. Give yourself some time, enjoy this process, and be clear on what it is you're trying to achieve and why. What's the purpose behind this? Because once you start focusing on this, other areas of your life really start to improve. So that's all I have for you all today. I hope this is helpful. If you have any questions, again, you can get into contact with me via my Instagram. If you're interested in getting help based off of this information here, submit an application down below. I'll make sure to reach out to you to see if it's a fit to work together. Otherwise, comment anything down below on my YouTube. Make sure you subscribe and like. If you're a woman over 40 years old who's struggling to get into good shape and stay there, this is the page for it. Again, thank you so much, and we'll see you in the next video.